Process safety management, contractor responsibilities.
Sky 5 was overhead as huge flames lit up the night sky and inside a cooling tower at the Marathon Refinery complex in Carson. The blaze broke out just before 11 p.m. Tuesday night and shut down both lanes of the 405 freeway for about 40 minutes. Marathon personnel and LA County firefighters quickly worked to depressurize the system and extinguish the flames, which were fully put out in the 5 a.m. hour. Local residents heard an explosion and smelled smoke. Viewers sent us these videos of the flames. Luckily, no one had to be evacuated.
This video. A fire breaking out and a massive explosion at Philadelphia Energy Solutions refinery in Philadelphia. Dramatic footage. You see it here. PES runs a 335,000 barrels a day refinery there. It is the largest and oldest oil refinery on the East Coast. Philadelphia fire officials say that one employee complained of chest pains this morning, but no other injuries have been reported, and that's phenomenal. Amazing considering.
Breaking overnight, a massive fire at an oil refinery outside Houston. Take a look at this. You can actually see the flames and plumes of smoke from what residents in Baytown called an explosion that rattled homes early this morning. Officials at the ExxonMobil refinery did not confirm an explosion, but they do say they are investigating the cause of the fire. 4 people were taken to the hospital. All of them are in stable condition this morning.
There are many catastrophes that led to the establishment of the Process Safety Management Standard. These 4 in particular. All of these events were caused by the catastrophic release of hazardous materials. If companies follow the implementation rules found in Process Safety Management, it is much less likely that another one of these catastrophes will occur. Yet disasters like the ones in the video you just watched continue to occur. We must constantly review and update our process safety management systems in an attempt to reduce or eliminate future disasters. The Clean Air Act amendments of 1990 required the Secretary of Labor to promulgate a process safety management standard. The process safety management standard must include a list of highly hazardous chemicals. Highly hazardous chemicals list must include toxics, flammables, highly reactive, and explosive materials. The Clean Air Act also required the EPA to establish the Risk Management Plan standard. Anticipated benefits? OSHA estimated that the integrated approach of the Process Safety Management Standard would reduce the average annual number of deaths and reduce the average annual number of serious injuries in the industries involved with the highly hazardous chemicals. It established 14 elements in the process safety management: employee participation, process safety information, process hazard analysis, safe operating procedures, training, contractors, pre-start safety review, mechanical integrity, hot work permit, management of change, incident investigation, emergency planning and response, compliance audits, trade secrets. Now let's look at each one of those. Employee participation. Employees must be trained and informed so they know how to prevent exposure to or protect themselves from the hazards of chemicals. Process safety information. The employer must compile complete and accurate written information concerning the process chemicals, process technology, and process equipment. Process hazard analysis. This is the evaluation of the potential hazards of a process or job and is one of the most important elements of a successful process safety management program. The process hazard analysis must address engineering and administrative controls applicable to the hazards, such as detection of early warnings of releases, the identification of any previous incident which had a likely potential for catastrophic consequences in the workplace, and the process hazardous analysis must be updated and reevaluated every 5 years. Safe operating procedures. Operating procedures tell you how to safely perform a job. It tells the data to be recorded, operating conditions to be maintained, samples to be collected and evaluated, and the safety and health precautions that must be taken all the time. Training. All employees, including maintenance and contractor employees, who could be impacted by the hazards of the chemicals, must be trained so that they know the hazards and how to protect themselves, their fellow employees, and the citizens of nearby communities. As in the case with almost any regulatory training, workers involved in the process must be trained on key components and hazards prior to initiating work. Refresher training must also be provided at least every 3 years. All training should be documented for compliance purposes. Make certain that when a significant change is implemented in the process, that training is provided to affected employees. Contractors. Employees must be hired who can accomplish their job tasks without compromising the safety and health of that employee or others. Workers under contract and involved in the hazardous process must be trained and included in the process safety management program, just like a full-time employee. Although we may not be involved in the startup and shutdown procedures of our customers' facilities, we must train our employees to understand our work procedures and direct impact it may have on the process itself. As a contractor, recognizing abnormal operating conditions plays a critical role in process safety management. Our immediate notification to the facility representatives will ensure the safety of all. Pre-startup safety review. All important elements such as startup, shutdown, and operating procedures, including emergency procedures, must be in place and the operating staff trained before a startup. The development of P&IDs, piping and instrument diagrams, must be available prior to startup for training assistance. Mechanical integrity. An employer must operate and maintain the process in a safe manner, and process equipment is designed in order to ensure safety. Equipment needs to be replaced when it is worn out. Hot work permit. It is important that non-routine work be well communicated, not only to those who will do the work, but to any persons that could be affected by the work. Work permits such as hot work permits give authorization to workers to do special tasks, but only after many things are in place that can ensure the safety of that work. Non-routine work cannot be done without a signed written permit that has all the special precautions just addressed within it. Management of change. The management of change covers such areas as changes in process technology, changes in instrumentation, or changes in the equipment itself. Not properly managing change has been a primary cause of many accidents. Special attention must always be made to be sure that the pump types and sizes and other equipment that is being replaced are identical to those being removed. If a process is regulated under process safety management, any minor or typical change that affects the process must be justified and documented. Documentation must also verify whether the change will have an impact on safety and health. No change should be implemented without the proper authorization of management officials. The authorization should not be just a management signature. The official signing the change is responsible for verifying that the change has been adequately implemented. Incident investigation. The investigation of an incident is the only way to determine the underlying causes of incidents and then determine any steps that could prevent the same or similar events from reoccurring in the future. The focus of all investigations should be to obtain facts and not to place blame. For this purpose, all accidents, injuries, and incidents, even near-miss incidents, must be reported to the proper personnel. Emergency planning and response. Each employer must have an emergency action plan that lays out what action employees are to take should there be a release of hazardous chemicals. This plan tells how personnel will evacuate if there is a release of hazardous chemicals. Employees must be trained so they know what to do if such a situation occurs. Compliance audits. The employer must have trained personnel to audit the site's process safety management program. This audit is to ensure that the site is doing what they said they would do, and also to help determine if what they are doing meets the requirements of what it was designed to do. Trade secrets. The employer must make all information necessary to comply with the standard available to those persons responsible for compiling the process safety information. All trade secret information should also be available to employees developing the process hazard analysis and operating procedures, and to those involved in incident investigations, emergency planning and response, and compliance audits. Confidentiality agreements are permitted. Facility responsibilities. Our customer. Evaluate the contractor safety performance and programs. Inform contractor of potential hazards, fire, explosion, toxic release, applicable plant safety rules. Develop and implement safe work practices, and evaluate contractor performance. Contractor responsibilities. Our role. Advise employer of any unique work hazards or contracted work. Each employee follow all applicable work practices and safety rules of the facility. Ensure each employee is trained in necessary work practices. Ensure each employee is instructed in known fire, explosion, and toxic release problems related to his or her job. Document that understanding of training has been evaluated and verified.